Hi, it's Anne-Marie from Charmed Life again, back with another little chat about Blake Lively, most specifically, I guess, and the whole It Ends With Us drama. Please do hit that like and subscribe if you've been enjoying these videos at all and my little ramblings about it. So kind of what I wanted to just check in with today is just how much we're seeing of them now. Which is, I think most people are walking around viewing it and feeling quite flabbergasted about it all, because it's clearly the PR strategy now is just to saturate media with their faces basically. And this is almost like a brainwashing thing, if you like, because it's almost like saying, look here, we're everywhere, we've got our fingers in all the pies, we can go anywhere, we can do anything, nothing that you say matters. We're going to do this, we're still going to be celebrated, we're still going to be lauded, we're still going to have awards, and we're still going to be seen as the moral compass of society, regardless of what you think or regardless of what evidence says. And so obviously, like, kind of people are getting a wee bit enraged, and it's kind of that thing I want to bring it back to, is not to lose yourself in all of this. It's fine to follow all of this coverage and look at it with curiosity and wonder what it's all about, but don't lose so much of your perspective on it that you get mean and nasty and you change who you are because you're so enraged about the unfairness of it all. Because I think this is the thing. I genuinely think, and I'm going to talk about my perspective of Blake in a minute, but I truly think that in Justin Baldoni's heart, he's in a literal, I think I've said a little bit about it before, he's in a literal no-win situation, because who would want to be in this court case in the first place? Nobody would want to be in it who was in their right minds. So he doesn't want to be in that court case, and he doesn't want to hurt or destroy Blake Lively, no matter what his lawyer said about suing her into oblivion. That was just law talk and posturing. I don't believe for one second that Justin Baldoni wants some kind of vengeance or vindication, whatever you want to call it, against Blake Lively. I think he simply wants his reputation and his livelihood back, and he wants to be able to get back on with his life and make movies and support the causes he wants to support and just have a reset. Is what we do in RTT, really. We're not installing as such, we're kind of resetting you, you know, changing the past and, you know, just resolving the past and saying past was past, now is now. I think that's literally all he wants, really, Justin Baldoni. But all of this push is definitely coming from Blake's side, as we know, because it's that literal inability to analyse their actions or examine them in any sense and have any kind of awareness that what they've done is wrong. And I think the problem with this publicity strategy that they're on is that, no matter what you think about Ryan or whether you believe he's a narcissist or whatever, he has a real big problem with his wife because he cannot control what his wife says. I mean, according to some people that were viewing that Times 100 gala footage, you can see him allegedly telling her, I need you to listen to what, I need you to listen right now, or something along those lines, to what I am saying. So that's basically saying, I need you to hear what the party line is, and I need you to do what I am telling you to do. I need this to sink in. So that's somebody that's not on firm ground with his wife. It's not somebody that trusts his wife to not get herself into bother, really. I think that's the problem. And, you know, they will have all of these people advising them and doing this strategy, but if you've got a client who will not listen, who will not see sense, who cannot look at it from an alternative angle, it's a really difficult position for anybody to be in, whether they be a lawyer or a publicity strategist or whatever. And I think it's just, it is that thing of that surely she's looking at some of this media coverage, and anybody in their right mind would look at it and say, would be curious as to Am I the asshole, as she said in the past? She said in that Forbes interview, am I the asshole here? And it's like she seems unable to answer that question with a yes. So that's the problem, really. And if you looked at the Seth Meyers interview, where she's clearly rehearsed what she's allowed to say, and I think you can see that she's kind of annoyed that she can't say more. The look on her face was very much, oh, there is so much I would say if I was able to say it. It's kind of like that. And what she did say was just, sat back. Was she sat like this somehow with the big birthday cake dress? Which didn't flatter it. It kind of made her look really big, which, she is a beautiful woman. But just that, it was just the attitude, which is the real problem, because there's your genuine abuse survivors, your genuine victims, seeing her sat there saying, oh, with the little I can do, with all of my millions, but this is, I will do that on behalf of women and girls, because I will not be controlled by fear, because fear is what is used against us, and fear is what keeps us silent. And it's just saying, basically, I'm this poor little woman that was manipulated, that was kowtowed, that didn't have a voice, that felt threatened, that booked the system in doing what I'm doing. And it's all just nonsense. And we all know it's nonsense, but she cannot see that we know that it is nonsense, and she can't see for herself that it is nonsense. So I think it's coming to that point where we really just have to call it what it is that Blake Lively is completely irrational, really. She's whatever, I'm not one for labels or labelling things, but I think we have to call it that there is some mental instability there, because there's no reasoning with her. There'll be no rationalising it. She's completely living a fairy tale. I mean, the gall that you have to stand up at that Time 100 gala and make that speech and manipulate her mum's story to sound like something that it isn't, in order to play with her own SASH narrative that she can't talk about. So she'll use her mother's story of victimhood, that isn't about SA or SH at all, and isn't about silencing women. She will manipulate that story in order to make a speech about something she can't talk about, because she's told off. She's been told off and told not to talk about it. It's like Ryan's gone, I'm going to pay for this, I'm going to get you this, but you have to say this, and it has to be this way. And even then, I'm not sure that's what he intended for her to say. He must kind of just hold his breath whenever she opens her mouth at this point, unfortunately. And that's not me feeling sorry for Ryan, because I just think he's doing some truly terrible things as a human being at this point in time. And yeah, it's I think it's just the level to which we're all staggered, and especially when you think about it in terms of, they've seen how something similar has played out in terms of Amber Heard. They know what that looks like and how wrong it can go. I mean, at this point, there is no choice for Justin Baldoni except to go all the way to trial. And I think Blake is so unhinged that she believes she has to take it all the way to trial, because she can't admit to any wrongdoing. She's kind of illustrated that she will create a story from anything and everything. So at this point, you can't question too much until like more truth comes out about what Taylor Swift has or hasn't done, because we've got evidentiary proof all the time that Blake makes stories out of nothing. We're even questioning now that comment she made on Seth Meyers when she talks about her, I presume it's a middle child, well, used to be a middle child, Inez, that they've always said from very young that she was shady. Even as a baby, putting out this narrative that she was a shady child. And like, what is that? It's like she's being brought up as the shady child. What? Why? From a baby. And the comment on Seth Meyers was, well, she was born on the same birthday as Napoleon Bonaparte and Jennifer Lawrence. So I don't know how Jennifer Lawrence thinks about that, because you know, what's she trying to say, that I'm crazy, that I'm shady? I mean, Jennifer Lawrence is quite open and a lot of fun and all of that, and quite witty, but Napoleon. But people have got, you know, people, like, she's forgetting now that people are analysing everything, or choosing not to notice that people are analysing everything she says and does. And some people are saying, well, she didn't have a child that was born on that date. And I kind of Googled it, so I thought, oh, well, let's see, because, like, you know, let's see what I can find. And I found the same thing, that she hasn't had a child in August. But you can't truly believe that, because celebrities, unless it's been pulled from birth certificate data, that because most celebrities don't make it public, do they? The actual birth date, that, you know, you'll know they're pregnant, and then you'll know the baby's there like 2 months, 3 months after, and you'll not know the name for 9, 10, 11, 12 months or something like that. So I don't know how accurate that is, but that's not what Blake is not seeing, that she's reached a point where the public have such incredulity about her that they will question anything and everything that she is doing, and they will look into it and they will research it as to whether it is fact or not. So, you know, and my personal feeling is that there would have been a breakup by now, but I think Ryan is forced into playing this long game, because financially, with the businesses that he have, and I think there's some things that he has to be careful of right now about his brand and his image and all the rest of it. So he couldn't right now divorce her or split up from her or anything like that. So he's in this tough position of trying to control everything that she's saying, and which is why I guess they're bombarding the media with just, look, this is us, this is how glamorous we are, this is how beautiful we are, this is how influential we are. It doesn't matter what you say, we're still going to be okay. And maybe part of that is for his brand deals or his companies or whatever, that he has to demonstrate that they are solid regardless of everything that's being said in the media. I mean, I don't know how friendly Ryan Reynolds is with Green Day, or what that was all about, them getting the star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and then him doing the main speech for them. I don't know how relevant that is. Apparently some Green Day music was used in one of the movies, but it was highly embarrassing, mortifying, that when they came up to do their speech, that they did not thank him, and it took somebody coming up, more or less pulling the sleeve, to say, you've forgotten to thank Ryan Reynolds. And you do wonder at this point if Ryan Reynolds bought their star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Not that they don't deserve it, but that whoever had to pay the bill that day, because we know they pay for these things, was that Ryan, and was that why he was the one making the speech? But everybody's looking at it just going, there's such a disconnect with them, which is the fascinating thing, that they're not getting, that everybody's looking at that and saying, what the hell's Ryan Reynolds doing a speech about Green Day for? It's like we wouldn't have put those two together at all, you know. Surely it might have been nice if a peer or more of a music legend did a speech about them or something like that. Ryan Reynolds? What's that about? You know, how relevant is that? And just Ryan, for me, whatever, I mean, some people like Ryan Reynolds' humour. I never particularly have done. I've never particularly found it funny, and I think it's getting less funny as it goes along. But all I'm here today to say is basically that I think all of this, all of the publicity and the weirdness and the weird ways, the many and varied ways in which they're showing up, are just telling you basically that I think this is going all the way, because I don't really think there is anything that Ryan can do that will make Blake apologise for things that she believes are true and believes have happened to her, or is so invested in her own story she's not willing to change it. There is no way that any kind of formal apology, I don't believe. I think Blake Lively would find it absolutely impossible to make a formal apology to Justin Baldoni at this point, because she just does not see it. She just does not get it. She thinks it has happened to her. She believes it. She's told herself it often enough at this point that she's invested in it. She believes it. She thinks it's fact. It's become an illusion in her mind that she's feeding. we just cannot believe anything that comes out of her mouth. A defamation, a deposition will be just all over the place. I think Taylor will just show up and answer very truthfully. I don't think that she's as involved as people think she's involved. I don't know what Hugh Jackman will do. That one will be interesting. It would be nice if we got to see what was all in those text messages and that, wouldn't it? I don't know whether we get to see those things or not, but I think it's looking like it's going all the way. Unless there's an enormous concession in terms of a payoff. Because like I say, I think they'll be hard pressed to get an apology out of Blake. So that only leaves money, doesn't it, really, to make good with money. And it'd just be interesting, won't it? But yeah, I caught a bit of Colonel Kurtz today. I don't know how recent the interview was, but it was the ex-boss of Amazon Studios, if you like, movie studios. And he was saying, because we've had a lot of Paul Feig saying, no, it's normal for actors to come on and collaborate to this level of costume and all of this. And, oh, yeah, you just let them get on with it. I can't imagine not doing that. Well, you've got the guy who's ex-chief of Amazon Studios saying, no, that's like a producer's nightmare. Having somebody come on and say, no, I'm an actor, but no, I want control of the costume and I want control of the score and I want control of the editing process and I want to see the dailies and I want this. That's not normal. That's like everybody's nightmare. So it's interesting, isn't it? But no, at this point in time, I just think we all just have to accept Blake Lively for what she is, that she is choosing to believe this is true. She is feeding her own narrative. She believes she is a feminist icon. She believes that she is the new face of the Me Too movement. She believes that she has been SH'd, even by Jed Wallace, who never met the woman, who was accused of SH as well somehow in the early days. I think that kind of got washed under, but early days, yeah, he was accused of SHing her as well, even though he'd never met her, and never did anything, allegedly never did any of the things that he's been accused of. But yeah, I just think it's going to run and run and run, isn't it? And just try not to get too annoyed about how much they're showing up, really, and try not to get too mean. Just look at it all with curiosity. As I keep saying, what you can learn about the mistakes we get ourselves into when we get into this thing of having grievances against people and needing to be proved right and not being able to apologise and not being able to look at things from the other person's perspective and only being able to see what hurts you and not what is hurting somebody else. Because the thing is, Justin Baldoni has he got one girl, one boy, so Blake Lively's calling herself this icon of protecting women, protecting young girls. What is she doing to Justin Baldoni's young girl? She sees her dad getting sick off the back of this thing, and it filters down to kids. I don't care what anybody says, even if you keep them away from TVs. You cannot keep your child away from everything in this day and age, and there will be questions that will be involved. And what is Blake Lively teaching her own children? Those kids, do they even stand a chance? I don't blooming know. But basically, it's no point us getting all riled up about it. Just continue to look at it with interest as the human drama it is, and it's very human, very ego-related. It's not loving, it's not respectful, it's not kind, it's not what we should be doing, which is being part of the collective rather than singling ourselves out as individuals and my needs matter more than yours, and what I say is right and what you say is wrong. This kind of bullshit that's going on, that's what we get ourselves into when we're acting in really unloving, self-serving ways. I mean, there's, what I mean, at this point in time, if Justin Baldoni was some kind of serial sexual harasser, there would have been a score of women that would be out here saying it. Instead, you've got girls like Sabrina Carpenter and others that are saying what a wonderful director he was, what a nurturing set it was, how caring he is. Nobody's coming out and saying bad stuff about this guy because it's just not there. You know, so that's what they're fighting against, and they can't win against that, but they're refusing to see that. And yeah, there's a very there's a very big risk at this point in time that Blake and Ryan and the kids and maybe the mother at this point will all end up living in Spain near Amber Heard somewhere, because there'll be no escaping it, you know. When are you going to pull on the reins and say enough? You know, stop these wild horses. Yeah, very, very interesting. Anyway, if you found that interesting at all, please do hit that like, subscribe, and consider sharing for me as well. Yeah, and I will hope to see you again soon. Bye bye for now.